Hello, welcome back to the channel. In today's video, I'll be discussing Christopher Reeve and his connection to the Superman curse. If you're new to the channel, welcome. Please be sure to like, subscribe, and leave a comment down below to boost the algorithm and to help build the channel. New content is going to be coming out at a much faster rate because I finally found a video editor. This is Bree. She makes up one half of the podcasting duo Offscript.
Hi guys, I'm Bree.
And I'm Allie. This is Offscript.
If you think about it, books are potential scripts for movies.
When this adaptation happens, typically it's disappointing because they went off script.
In this series, we will be talking about how off script they went.
Links are in the description. You can find them wherever you get your podcasts, and I 100% recommend that you check them out. The 100 subscriber giveaway is still very much a go. This is for a copy of DC Special Series number 21, featuring the first Frank Miller Batman art. It's signed by Frank Miller and certified through Comic Sketch Art. Make sure your subscriber settings allow me to see you in my subscriber list so that I can enter you in the drawing. Once I hit 100 subscribers, it's going to happen. If I can't see you, I can't enter you. Finally, I want to give a shout out to StickerNinja.com. If you're looking to get your brand or art out in the world, stickers are a great inexpensive way to do it, and I highly recommend Sticker Ninja. They have a variety of styles and finishes to choose from, including biodegradable, to help you find what suits you best. And if you're not sure what you want to get, you can always experiment by ordering the $20 sample packs. Once you're ready to place an order, use the code word PanelShow15 to get 15% off. Life's short, so let's make some art. Now that the announcements are finished, let's get to the video. Christopher Reeve was born in New York City in 1952. His father, Franklin, was a grad student at Columbia, and his mother, Barbara, was a student at Vassar. Franklin and Barbara divorced in 1956, and she moved to New York City with Christopher and his younger brother, Benjamin. Christopher discovered his interest for acting at 9 years old when he was cast in an amateur version of the operetta The Yeoman of the Guard. That interest was solidified at 15 when he spent a summer as an apprentice at the Williamstown Theater Festival in Williamstown, Massachusetts. Reeve graduated high school in 1970 and originally planned to move to New York City and pursue a career in theater, but applied for college at the behest of his mother. He was accepted to 4 Ivy League schools, Princeton, Columbia, Brown, and Cornell, as well as Northwestern University and Carnegie Mellon University. Reeve chose Cornell because of its distance from New York, so he wouldn't be tempted to look for acting work and focus on his studies. He joined the Cornell Theater Department and performed in Waiting for Godot, Life is a Dream, Rosencrantz and Guildenstern Are Dead, and The Winter's Tale. Late in his freshman year, Reeve received a letter from Stark Hasseltine, a high-powered New York City agent who had seen Reeve perform and wanted to represent him. Reeve was excited to get the letter and eager to get his career started, but was surprised when Hasseltine supported his promise to his mother to finish college. They decided that instead of dropping out of school, Reeve would visit New York once a month to meet with casting directors and find work for summer vacation. Before his third year of college, Reeve took a 3-month leave of absence. He traveled to Glasgow, Scotland, and saw theatrical productions throughout the UK. He was inspired by the actors there and would have conversations with them in bars after performances. He also helped the actors at the Old Vic with their American accents by reading the newspaper out loud for them, and then flew to Paris to study French theater. After returning to the US, Reeve decided to focus solely on acting and managed to convince Cornell's theater director and the dean of the College of Arts and Sciences that as a theater major, he would achieve more at Juilliard than Cornell, and they agreed that his first year at Juilliard would count as his last year at Cornell. In 1973, about 20,000 students auditioned for just 20 places in Juilliard's freshman class. Reeve was not only accepted, but he and Robin Williams were the only students selected for Juilliard's advanced program. They had several classes together where they were the only students and developed a close friendship. In 1974, after completing his first year at Juilliard, Reeve graduated from Cornell with a Bachelor of Arts degree. That year, he was cast as Ben Harper in the long-running soap opera Love of Life, and in 1975 auditioned for the Broadway play A Matter of Gravity. The late Katharine Hepburn watched his audition and cast him as Nicky, her character's grandson, and with her influence at CBS, Reeve was able to work out his schedule between Love of Life and A Matter of Gravity so he could do both. Reeve's first role in a Hollywood film was as Lieutenant J.G. Phillips in the 1978 Charlton Heston film Grey Lady Down, then performed in the play My Life with friend and future Academy Award winner the late William Hurt. While performing in My Life, Hasseltine told Reeve that he'd been asked to audition for the leading role in the big-budget film Superman. Superman's filmmakers had been struggling to find an actor to play the lead, and after hundreds of auditions, director Richard Donner and producer Ilya Salkind met with Reeve, then sent him the script the next day.
I mean, we were going completely nuts to get the right guy.
It's all over, Luther.
You're coming with me.
We even tested the dentist of my first ex-wife.
It's too late. The rocket is already on its way, and even you can't fly fast enough to stop it.
I won't have to fly anywhere, not after you tell me where the controls are.
Reeve was happy to see the script took the subject matter seriously and flew to London for a screen test. While he didn't think he had much of a chance to win the part, Reeve gave considerable thought to his portrayal of the character and would later say, "By the late 1970s, the masculine image had changed. People expected marriage to be a genuine partnership. Now it was acceptable for a man to show gentleness and vulnerability. It was even admirable for him to cook dinner, change diapers, and stay at home with the kids. I felt that the new Superman ought to reflect that contemporary male image." Reeve pointed to the interview scene with Margot Kidder's Lois Lane as the perfect example. When Lois asked the question,
"Just how fast do you fly, by the way?"
in the 40s and 50s, Superman might have just given a mock number.
The location is here. That's about 2,000 miles away. I can be there in 30 seconds.
But in this film, he answered with,
"Oh, I don't know, really. No, never actually, bothered to time myself."
Reeve won the part and began an intense workout regime with Darth Vader actor David Prowse as his trainer. He refused to wear padding and added 30 pounds of muscle in 2 months. He also saw the part as a chance to play a role within a role and insisted on playing Clark Kent completely different from Superman. Otherwise, you just have a pair of glasses standing in for a character. The most challenging part of the film proved to be the flying sequences, which involved long, excruciating hours hanging from wires for Reeve and Lois Lane actress Margot Kidder.
Flying certainly wasn't romantic to do it because you're hanging 50 feet up from a soundstage in an extremely uncomfortable leather harness that's cutting into your armpits and your everything else. We'd be whirled back and forth across the ceiling on these wires, and I would be smashing into Chris in midair. At one point, somebody dropped a clapperboard on the wire and cut off the electric current, and we quickly went whoosh, and we're hanging upside down, held in only by our safety belts. And Christopher actually did this. He reached out in character and held the pole as if he was going to hold us both up from gravity.
The most useful component of the flying sequences was Christopher Reeve himself. As a glider pilot, Reeve could hold his body aerodynamically when harnessed into the flying rigs and could make the shots appear natural. Superman premiered December 1978 and went on to gross $300 million worldwide, and when adjusted for inflation, remains the highest grossing Superman movie of all time as of this recording. The film received Academy Award nominations for editing, sound, and original score, and won the Special Achievement Oscar for visual effects, making Superman the first comic book movie to win an Academy Award, and Reeve won Most Promising Newcomer at the British Academy Film Awards. Superman 2, like Superman, was a critical and commercial success, grossing $216 million at the box office. Superman 3 co-starred comedian Richard Pryor, but was far less serious than the first two. While it grossed $80 million on a $40 million budget, it disappointed fans and critics. Superman 4, The Quest for Peace, was an attempt to right the ship, with Reeve co-writing the story, but it underwent many production issues, including slashing the budget from $36 million to $17 million and cutting a large part of the film entirely. The movie bombed critically and commercially. Following the first Superman movie, Reeve received multiple offers to star in action films, but turned them down as he felt most of the scripts were poorly constructed and that the lead roles could be played by anyone with a strong physique. Reeve was very selective about the parts he played and sometimes found it challenging to find projects he was interested in. His first role after Superman was the 1980 time travel fantasy Somewhere in Time opposite Jane Seymour. It bombed at the box office but gained cult status thanks to cable networks and video rentals. That same year, Reeve made a guest appearance on The Muppet Show, and throughout the episode he denied being Superman while displaying Superman's powers. In 1982, Reeve starred alongside Michael Caine in the dark comedy Death Trap and played a corrupt Catholic priest in the World War II film Monsignor. And in 1984, he starred opposite Vanessa Redgrave in The Bostonians, which exceeded expectations and performed well at the box office for an indie film. Reeve would later co-star with Morgan Freeman in 1987's Street Smart. The film earned Freeman his first Academy Award nomination, but it failed at the box office, something Reeve attributed to poor marketing. The early 1990s saw Reeve star as the villain in 3 movies, Bump in the Night, Death Dreams, and Nightmare in the Daylight. In 1993, he played Congressman Jack Lewis in The Remains of the Day, which, according to his youngest son Will, was the film he was the most proud of. It was a critical and financial success and was nominated for 8 Academy Awards, including Best Director, Best Actress, Best Actor, and Best Picture. In 1995, Reeve played a paralyzed police officer in the HBO movie Above Suspicion. To prepare for the role, Reeve visited a rehab hospital in Van Nuys, California, to learn what it would be like to be a paraplegic.
I remember the last movie I did, I played a paraplegic. a movie called Above Suspicion, and I went to a rehab center, and I worked with the people there so I could simulate being a paraplegic. And every day I'd get in my car and drive away and go, thank God that's not me. I have to admit that. And then 7 months later, I was in this condition. And I remember, in a way, the smugness of that, as if I was, privileged in some way. But the point is, we're all one great big family. And any one of us could get hurt at any moment.
Less than a week after Above Suspicion premiered, tragedy struck Reeve while he was participating in a cross-country horse race in Virginia. Reeve developed an interest in equestrianism after learning to ride for the 1987 TV movie Anna Karenina. He began training for the role in 1985, and by 1987 had begun eventing. In 1994, Reeve purchased a 12-year-old thoroughbred named Buck and began training with him to compete in training-level events and move up to preliminary in 1996. On May 27, 1995, Reeve was originally scheduled to compete in Vermont, but decided to compete in Virginia after being invited by his coach. Reeve and Buck performed well in the dressage, finishing 4th out of 27. After completing the dressage, Reeve walked the cross-country course to plan his strategy. He walked the course 3 times and was most concerned about the 16th jump because it was a water jump and he hadn't taken Buck through much water, and the 17th because it would require a long gallop at a high rate of speed to clear the jump. He gave little, if any, thought to the early jumps as they were the easiest on the course. Reeve and Buck started the course without a hitch, clearing the first 2 jumps with ease, and approached the 3rd jump, a 3-foot-tall fence shaped like a W. As they approached the 3rd jump, Reeve leaned forward in anticipation of the jump, shifting his center of gravity, and as Buck began to make the jump, he suddenly stopped without warning. Officially, it's called a refusal. Riders call it a dirty stop. When Buck stopped, Reeve was thrown forward over the fence and landed on his head. His hands had become entangled in the reins and was unable to break his fall. His helmet prevented any brain damage, but the impact shattered his 1st and 2nd vertebrae, paralyzing him from the neck down, making it impossible to breathe on his own. Reeve briefly considered euthanasia because he didn't want to be a burden to his family, but it was visits from his family, namely his children, that made him realize how much he was still needed. He changed his mind, consented to the life-saving surgery, and never spoke of euthanasia again. 2 years later, Reeve would say he was glad to be alive, not out of obligation to others, but because life was worth living. Following the accident, Reeve became heavily involved in spinal cord activism. In 1997, he supported a bill to raise the lifetime cap on insurance payments from $1 million to $10 million, as the catastrophically injured often reach the $1 million cap in just a few years. That bill was narrowly defeated in Congress, but in 1999, he supported the Work Incentives Improvement Act, which aimed to reduce barriers to employment for individuals with disabilities. That bill passed with near unanimous support in the House and Senate and was signed into law by President Bill Clinton. Reeve was elected chairman of the American Paralysis Association, vice president of the National Organization on Disability, and co-founded the Reeve Irvine Research Center, which is now one of the leading spinal cord research centers in the world. In 1999, the American Paralysis Foundation merged with another of Reeve's foundation and was renamed the Christopher Reeve Foundation. To date, the foundation has given over $65 million to research and more than $8.5 million in quality of life grants. Reeve also served as a board member for several organizations aimed to improve the quality of life for people with disabilities. In 2006, University of California Irvine would say, "In the years following his injury, Christopher did more to promote research on spinal cord injury and other neurological disorders than any other person before or since." In addition to his tireless activism, Reeve remained active in the film industry. In 1996, he narrated the HBO film Without Pity, a film about abilities, which won an Emmy Award, and acted in a small role in the film A Step Toward Tomorrow. In 1997, Reeve made his directorial debut with the HBO film In the Gloaming, which featured a star-studded cast and was nominated for 5 Emmy Awards, including Outstanding Director for a miniseries or special. In 1998, he produced and starred opposite Daryl Hannah in Rear Window, a TV remake of the 1954 Alfred Hitchcock film. Reeve was nominated for a Golden Globe and won a Screen Actors Guild Award for his performance. Also in 1998, Random House published Reeve's autobiography Still Me, which spent 11 weeks on the New York Times bestseller list, and Reeve won a Grammy Award for the Best Spoken Word album for the audiobook. In 2000, Reeve appeared with his son Will in an episode of Sesame Street, and he also made a surprising appearance in a commercial for Nuveen Investments, which aired during Super Bowl 34 before an estimated 88 million viewers.
And in the years since the new millennium, the world has seen such progress. In 2004, the tide was turned against AIDS. 2 years later, great strides against cancer. And Tonight we celebrate a remarkable breakthrough in spinal cord injuries, made possible by countless researchers and contributors. And to present this award, we have some very special guests.
In the future, so many amazing things will happen in the world. What amazing things can you make happen?
The message the commercial was trying to send about investing in the future was ultimately lost because so many people focused on the imagery of Reeve walking. Naveen was flooded with calls with people asking him where Reeve went to get his cure, and critics said it could be misinterpreted as misleading or raising false hope. But Reeve defended the ad, saying that the scene in the commercial was something that could actually happen. Most scientists agree that with enough money and talent focused on spinal cord repair, the goal of walking within the foreseeable future is a very real possibility. In 2002, Random House published his second book, Nothing is Impossible, Reflections on a New Life, and Reeve was cast in what would be his final on-screen role as Dr. Virgil Swan in the Superman prequel series Smallville, where he appeared in 2 episodes. The first episode, Season 2's Rosetta, was nominated for a Hugo Award for Best Drama Presentation, set a ratings record for WB, and is still praised as one of the series' best episodes over its 10-year run. Reeve's final on-screen appearance came the following year in the Season 3 episode Legacy. In 2004, Reeve directed the A&E film The Brooke Ellison Story, based on the true story of Brooke Ellison, the first quadriplegic to graduate from Harvard University, and during that time, Reeve had been directing the animated film Everyone's Hero. It had been one of his dream projects and he died during production. The film was released in September 2006 and was posthumously dedicated to Christopher and his late wife Dana. In October 2004, Reeve was being treated for a pressure ulcer that was causing sepsis. On October 9th, he went into cardiac arrest after receiving an antibiotic for the infection and fell into a coma. Just 18 hours later, October 10, 2004, Reeve died at age 52. No autopsy was performed, but Reeve's wife Dana and his doctor both believed it was an adverse reaction to a drug that caused his death. A memorial service was held at Unitarian Church in Westport, Connecticut, where Christopher and Dana attended, and a private service was later held at Juilliard and was attended by over 900 people, while fans from all over the world paid tribute to the late actor and activist. Following Christopher's death, Dana headed the Christopher Reeve Foundation until succumbing to lung cancer on March 6, 2006 at 44 years old, just 512 days after Christopher's death. On March 11, 2007, the Christopher Reeve Foundation announced it had changed its name to the Christopher and Dana Reeve Foundation on the first anniversary of Dana's death. To date, all 3 of Reeve's children serve on the Christopher and Dana Reeve Foundation's board of directors, and in 2024, Superman, the Christopher Reeve Story, a documentary about Reeve's life, was released theatrically and can be streamed on HBO Max. Christopher Reeve's horse riding accident is really the origin of the Superman curse, because it wasn't until then that anyone even associated George Reeve's death with a curse, and since then, any kind of scandal or unfortunate incident that occurs involving a Superman alumni has been blamed on the curse. His accident was exactly that, an accident. He never blamed a curse for his condition, and according to those who knew him best, never displayed any hint of self-pity. He pushed forward, and he did a lot of good in the 9 years between his accident and his death, becoming a real-life Superman in the process. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. Please give me a follow on social media as I'm getting more active on it, and be sure to give Offscript a look as well. And don't forget to check out stickerninja.com. The discount code is PanelShow15, 15% off your order. And don't forget to subscribe for your chance to win this copy of DC Special Series number 21, signed by Frank Miller and certified by Common Sketch Art.
Please help us conquer paralysis.
Call the Christopher Reeve Paralysis Foundation at 1-800-225-0292.
Or visit the CRPF website at christopherreeve.org.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Oh, no, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Please call.